everybody, welcome. Nicholas White Wolf here from my YouTube channel, Living for the Living 96. Practical guides to gain totality in this world of chaos. Okay, so today we're going to do a despacho. A despacho is a offering to the nature spirits of various facets, and it comes from the mountains of Peru with the Cuero tradition. So what have we got here? We'll go through. If any of you, I like to look at these various ceremonies that I do and try to find some relationship they have to ones that maybe you'll understand, because from the offset they probably look a little bit different to what you're used to or completely bonkers. But the truth is, you know, it doesn't really make a difference what ceremony you're actually doing, in my opinion, which will probably go against a lot of us. It's mainly about the intent. What is your intent? You know, that's what we need to find. So if anybody out there studies Catholicism or goes to church every week, you'll find that you've got a thing called the Eucharist, which is where you have bread and red wine, which is symbolic in reflection of the Christ's blood and body. So a despacho is very similar to that. You can put into it what you will. For example, you start off here, I've got my medicine blanket, which is my whole spirit team. If anybody's watching any of my other videos, you'll know that. I'm not really going to go into those right now because otherwise it'll take away the emphasis on what I'm doing. But they're all of my spirit team who help me. You like to call them guides, previous lives, future lives, family in this life, lots of things, and that's who they are. Cardinal point elements, power animals, so on and so forth. So you put paper in, and you put other papers, various ways to be able to do this, and then what you do, you keep it with you for a while. So what I'm going to do, I've got paper out of one of my journals I'm going to use. I have a blanket to be wrapped up in from I got from South America, some material to wrap it. And so what we got, the symbolic nature here. Let me just say what we got. Sugar. Sugar's for the elements. Air, fire, water, earth. Let's just start moving it about a bit. I have some sage to help it all transgress into the world of spirit, the invisible world, because once you've made it up and you've wrapped it and you've blessed it and all the various things you do, well, I'm going to take it into a mountain probably this time next week, do another video because this is part one, and then burn it, and it just helps. Hemp seed, all of this, oh dear, what's that? All of this stuff is from my own home, well, most of it anyway, because I love plants. I rear plants, they're like a family to me. So hemp seeds, that's my boy. And just to let you know, if I go quiet when I'm doing it, it's because I'm not vocalising what I'm doing it for. And that's not the whole lot, otherwise I wouldn't have bothered doing this. It's just various things, for various reasons, I don't want to be heard. So we've got ginger, which is from my dad. Long life, ginger represents. We've got some sweets here, which are reflective of my child self, some various situations I'm dealing with, or, you know, we're never fully healed. If we were meant to be healed, it's my feeling that we wouldn't be human. So, just represents a certain part of my life that I want, that has become apparent, because I have been dealing with aspects of it since I was about 22, and now I'm 48. We've got two feathers I've purchased here. One's for the apus. The apus, you can see that in lots of languages, but in the Quetro tradition, it is the mountain spirits, and I absolutely love mountains. So as like all being well, weather permitting, I'm going to North Wales next week, so let's have another video. Aloe vera, I've got lots of it in my flat. I love it, it's very good, lots of healing qualities. This is for my, what I call, which is here, my collective selves. If you follow psychiatry, psychology, Carl Jung's work, they're called sub-personalities. But where, well, I've got other theories on Carl Jung, but it's not the conversation for now. But ultimately, they're all part of who you are. In a lot of traditions, sub-personalities are like spirits, they're like teachers, you know. As long as you know you're the prime one, and they are sub-parts of you, you're okay. It's the moment they start getting a bit out of control that we have to reel them in, which happens. So that's the healing of my collective self. On this context is probably my former lives. I've been working with former lives. There's a wonderful word in the Quechua tradition, the dialect called the Wiracocha. The Wiracocha stands for roughly the source of the sacred. The source of the sacred is no different to the halo you see on Renaissance art. The higher self, your soul, where all of your lives and all of your incarnations, all of your experience, so we're looking at infinite possibilities. Because every action has another reaction, so it's all there. We've got some healing work to do with some aspects of my sub-personalities from a life that lived that isn't me, Nicholas. I'm going to leave these ones up here. They're all little petals. Some of them naturally fell off, some I've asked kindly to the plant if I can take them. They are a reflection of the LFTL 96 process. If you watch any of these videos, which very little people do, you might think I'm a bit of a plonker, which when I watch the videos back, it does look a little bit like, you know, what the hell is he doing? But why I'm doing this is because I have my own beliefs that eventually one day it will be necessary. So it's trial and error. I am a self-confessed technophobe, so using these phones, tripods, YouTubes, you know, I have used computers, but my studying days were the dot matrix pre-mid-90s Windows. So these plants are reflective of the LFTL, the growing of my own corn, in that state, you know, I just love these words, it just means I'm giving into the world. When I look at the concept of divinity, I don't have this idea as monolithic religions do where it's outside. I've got this idea of a quantum, where we are the creators of the creation. We're one but the same thing. You know, as we're moving through this realm, we're creating the world that we wish to dream in. Or dream in the world we wish to live in. So that's that. We have a little chocolate here, which is my mummy. If anyone knows her and watches this, I know she loves chocolates. That's one of her chocolates from her Christmas box. I said, can I have a chocolate, Mum? Last night she said, yeah. I said, I'm not going to eat it though. She's like dumbfounded, and she knows her son's a little bit wacky, so she just thought, okay, he's probably going to do something else. We've got some red leaves and some white leaves here. They're remnant of the masculine and the feminine, the archaic who we are, Father, Son, Mother Earth. So, let's give it a go. Just remember, for me, everything you do is love, light, grace and gratitude. There is no wrong way, you know. And if anybody tells you there is, they need to address their way. We just quickly check into I have all these journals. I am a big writer. So this one started off maybe 25 years ago this year. I'm forever writing. And I'm forever going mad at them, but I like them. You know, I haven't got a laptop and a computer that I write my journals up. And, you know, people know that I'm a bit different, but interestingly enough, they carry some lovely feelings. So, that's it, I think, yeah. Well, let's give this a go then. I like to use everything that's natural to me, okay? That's the first thing. So this is another one of my journals. This one dates back probably, August 96. I like to keep them, you see. I think it's important to keep a journal because it tells you where you're at or where you were at. So it comes from me. So guys, we're going to start off this Despacho by, I'm going to put some sugar with my spoon on a clockwise fashion all around. And that's the elements: air, fire, water, earth, or in the Quero medicine wheel, the south of the Sachamama, which is the serpent, the west of the jaguars and panthers, north of the hummingbird, east of the condors and eagles. And in science, like I've said before, I'm not an academic, but I'm far from stupid. I've got degree style qualifications, but you know, I'm no physicist or blah, but elements, air, fire, water, earth, that's pretty much what we are as a universe, isn't it? Okay, so that's that. And now I'm going to move onto another of my Despachos. And as I'm doing this, I'm invoking light from the Father, the invisible, and grounding from the Mother, coming up into the central point. And I just imagine all of this is about love. You know, sometimes we come across sticky situations in our life and we think to ourselves, actually, you know what, I don't want to go into this. But with my idea of quantum, all of these situations are still happening until you readdress them and re-educate them. You know, so people used to say to me about it all, I say, past, present and future don't exist to me. You know, there's no exist, it's just one big circle. And as I've studied for the last quarter of a century, and I've travelled and blah, 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 done all of these things, it's become quite obvious that past and present and future are just a way of controlling, in a fashion, you know, people. And as economies have grown, the Industrial Revolution, we've just used this concept of time as a way of saying, oh yeah, it's time to do this, it's time to build this business, blah blah markets. But in truth, it doesn't matter. And things aren't in the past if they affect you in the present, and they're very much in the future until you go into them and deal with them. And this is a beautiful way of just giving back to nature. You know, the harvest festival, the equinoxes, the solstices, all of these things that govern us. I was only with my great niece recently. She comes most weekends and we do litter picking for our village. And she said, you know, it's only 9. I don't understand why people treat the earth like this. You know, it's our home. And I said, well, for you to have that kind of attitude at 9 is amazing. I've got great hopes for you, but the truth is you're right. Why do they? It's our home. We're cutting all the bloody trees down. We're cutting our lungs. It's, I don't want to go and glue myself to something or lie in the middle of a road. My protest and my revolution's internal. But what are we doing? So this is just a way of me collecting to my individual, to the outside, the collective, to divinity. You know, bit like in Jungian stuff, when you got the subconscious, the superconscious, the collective conscious, all very similar. Just different ways of expressing the same thing. And like I've said many times, all religions are the same to me. I wouldn't say that on different countries' borders, but the truth is, it does make a difference what or who the God is. It's just that you do. So this is just giving back, saying thank you for all of the beautiful things that the earth does for me. And individually, I'm working through some stuff. So we've done the elements, some sugar, some sweetness, some love. And now I'm going to start thinking. I'm going to put the masculine and the feminine in. So I know this plant won't mind, I'm not hurting, we're all some red petals. That are symbolic of the feminine within all of us. You know, it's an interesting world I live in, you know, with all of this gender discussions and gender fluid. as much as I don't understand it all because we haven't been educated, it's an amazing process from a spiritual ideal to be able to see all of these people expressing themselves different. I told my son who's 19, oh no sorry, who's 18, you know, I used to break it down into simple, you know, my idea of spiritual philosophy and spiritual socialism, break it down to the simple components, and that ended up being one statement. As long as you're not compromising yourself or anybody else, do what you want. You know, and that pretty much sums up the world for me today, and it's so nice to see. For anybody who ever does get to watch it and think, you know, yeah, but you guys don't understand, you generation, you're right. What you've got to understand is that nobody's taught us. So I love this idea of learning. I always laugh. I only was down the local Tesco's and I was laughing to the lads. I said, I tried growing up. I met a woman, got engaged, got married, had a son, bought a house, all of these things. I'm still friends with her actually, that's not the point. The concept is, it's overrated, I'm going back to being a child. And what that really means in essence is that I'm always ready to learn. As a child is always ready to open to possibilities, I too. So, all of these ideas I discuss aren't just taken from somebody else's notion. I try to integrate lots of different things. So we've done the feminine, now let's do the masculine. You know, the feminine in all of us, it's interesting, the masculine in all of us. All these guys, you know, going out with the boys for the day, you know, they just substituted football or whatever sports just so they can be with men. Because if they say they're with the guys from a socially accepted thing like football or boxing or pool, snooker, you know, if you just say, like heterosexual men, I'm going to hang around with a bunch of guys, they'll start analysing it. So our world is a bit of a tricky place. So as those are in there now, I'm just thinking about all that. I like to put a stem in. That's for the Pachamama. The Pachamama is Mother Earth. Just another Quechua word. So, next. Like I said, none of this has been rehearsed. I kind of know what I'm doing. Most importantly, we've got certain ways you've got to do things, which I'll explain, which I am explaining actually. But most importantly, it comes from your heart. And my heart is 100% pure. Sometimes it doesn't engage with my mouth, but the essence of it, you know, I always say the vessel's a little bit strange. So the hemp seeds are my boy, who I love very much, who all of his life I've watched him grow. When I was very ill once, I wrote my own celebration of life, and it said in it that you are, so I'm not going to mention his name, son, you are my greatest achievement. And now he's 18, I have been through a grieving process. Took about 6 months of the last year working with letting him go. So from winter 22 right through to his birthday of April last year, sorry. You know, I grieved him. No longer is that little boy who hanged on to me and we did loads of stuff together. I've had to let him go. Which was difficult for me, but now I have more time to do the things I wanted. Watching him grow in his own way, it's like a masterpiece. And luckily, you know, as I've got sympathesia, which is the viewing of abstract energy, I can see his energy field growing too, and he's a good soul. Okay, so we've got another paper going in now. I'm just going to flatten it down. Like I said, this is working art because I don't really know. So now these little plant bits. I think I was meant to put those in, but I'm into the book at the moment by a guy called Roland Thunder, and a North American Indian guy. And he kind of writes, which is a great idea, which is I live by. There are no mistakes, there is no delays, there's only the right time. And that is what's spirit. So as long as you feel, not think, unless you do an accountancy exam, which I did loads of them, then you've got to think, not feel. But in all fairness, this work will materialise itself as long as your essence is. So we've got these bits of plants, that's for my process. I have this idea on spiritual totality, and what that means is that all of your soul components of your higher selves, all of the lives are reconciled, i.e. all of our lessons have been learned, they've been recapitulated, which means we've gone in and we've resolved them, like I discussed the past, present and future of the emotions. I'm coming across something now from my childhood that I really didn't think about. It was only recently when I was doing some other ceremonies to ascertain what to do, they come up. So this is, my heart is in the right place with these videos and this idea, and I've got no interest in money, I've been there. I just want to bring a lot of these traditions that I've lived with various cultures into the home, so you can do it yourself. We haven't got to lock ourselves away in different retreats, we could do it at home. So that's just about giving me some idea. We're going to put my, for Ginger for Dad, longevity, long life. I know he's 76, but he has his fear that he might die, which we all do, but just to give him to understand the everlasting components. The Alvera of the collective selves. The healing of the soul. This is one of those times when I'll go quiet. It's not that kind of workshop to discuss that. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But definitely not now. Okay, so what we're going to do, yeah, that feels right. We can put a bit of sage in with this, just to help these components of their collective soul alleviate. Okay, so I shall do another one. Okay, so we're going to put Mommy, her chocolate. My mum is quite possibly the kindest person in the world. And when she leaves this planet, I will be devastated for a short time, but then I will be left encapsulated with love, you know. So just to let her know, she knows anyway, she lives around the corner, I'll tell her every day that she'll be around today doing stuff for her. Okay, so listen guys, we got the feather. This is for the apus. As I'm, long story, I shall condense it, which is still difficult. I always had a dream of going back to South America when my son was 21, so that would be in 3 years, about 2.5 years time. For various practical reasons, health, blah, 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 I can't do it. Well, I could, but it wouldn't, there's no health out there. And for starters, I'm a type 1 diabetic and I don't want to be stuck in the mountains, you know, and have some sort of issue, but that wouldn't stop me. But the spirit have shown me there's a place in and around North Wales, so it's just for the mountains, the apus, the love. Like you wouldn't just walk in someone's backyard and sit down sunbathing, would you? You just don't walk around to these spirits of various facets, water, lakes, mountains, and you introduce you to something like this. You introduce yourself, but that's another video, but we've got that. So what have we got here? We've got just some sweets. Just a few sweets, which is the childhood thing, which I won't discuss. Not that I wouldn't discuss it, but it's just, I'll be here for a while, and it's still quite interesting why it come up all these years, and I've spent many years dealing, so I always trust. Spirit knows best. So that's it. Yes, that is it then. So, when you fold it, yeah, right to left. So what we're going to do is fold it up now with all this stuff in. Right to left, okay? That's it. And now down to top. Down to top. Right to left. So now we have a nice, tight little bundle. It's important to keep it the same way up. So that's the way it started. So we keep it that way. So I've got some green's the colour I wanted. So all we're going to do is keep it this way up, and it stays with you now, but it will stay with me for 6 days until I do it. Yeah? So it's just some nice little material, just spreading the love a bit, keeping it the same way up, and it's good to keep it with you as well. You know, as it happens, I don't move about much these days, but keep it with me. So what we're going to do is keep it the same way up. There's various things you need to do, but I'll explain that next week when I'm in the mountains. But ultimately I'm going to take it to the mountains, I'm going to keep it with me for a week, spend time focused on it. And remember, you know, sometimes you go a bit, well, I used to go a bit too obsessive on things, you know, it's not like that. The spirit knows I've got OCD. So it knows, you know, that no matter what I do, I always try my best. So I've got a nice bowl in there which I had a friend do for me back in 1991 for my GCSE woodwork. I do know his name, but I won't say it. And I'm going to take it up with some agua de Florinda, which is some Peruvian water we use for that type of heavy items. Heavy being dense energy. No different to highly water, I suppose, but it's flammable as well, which is good. So I'm going to take my Despacho up to the mountains. And what I'm going to do, well, obviously elements permitting, but I honestly, wholeheartedly know that spirit wouldn't send me because they picked the date for me, they picked the place. It's very automatic for me. I was on my phone, where do I go? They've told me. I've looked on it. The place I'm going to has got the sea and and this mountain in walking distance. So I total trust. But like I said, I could be completely bonkers. That's right. But I don't mind. You know, I'm no trouble. Not to myself and not to anybody else. I'm going to keep it in my favourite Peruvian blanket. I've got quite a lot around here. You know what, if you know how long these take, these people, you know, honestly, they're so humble. I've been to places in the world where, you know, the locals can be quite, you know, in your face. Some places in Turkey and stuff, you know, you don't buy stuff off the vendors, then you're in some huge trouble, which is understandable because they have their own ideas on family history. But Peru, they're not. These blankets take a year to make. So I take great pleasure. So we're not gonna, so now, so I don't move it, I'm not gonna mess about now, so it's coming to me. So we're keeping it the same way up now. Okay, so, you know, I probably ain't gonna, it's probably not the tidiest in the world, but hey ho. Viracocha, one of the main Inca gods, which as they say the Queros come from, that bloodline and tradition. I'm sure that Viracocha isn't going to look down on me and say, Nicholas White Wolf, that looks a right mess. It's the intent. So put the knot at the top. So remember, that's the top. And I'm going to leave it on my little table, and all being well, I'll make another video next week. Actually, I might make 3, I'm not too sure. definitely make 2. I'm hoping that I can just get into the mountains, as it's mid-January in the winter. Not many people are going to be in the mountains, and I can just spend some time with it, which for me means I'll put some classical music on my phone, have this resting on my chest, pure love, send it all into the essence, find a suitable spot that spirit will find for me, open it all up, like I said, love, light, grace and gratitude, and then use my Agua de Florinda, which is a healing properties anyway, and my wooden bowl, which you'll see in here, and set the finger light and let the energy take it all away. There's certain things you need to do when you light it, which we'll discuss at the time. Watch it burn, spend time, and then all of the love and the time and the knowledge, the wisdom, the truth I put into it will be transformed and make its way to the invisible worlds. Thank you for watching. Adios.